Wow, what a complete trash weekend for fucking NASCAR. And don't worry, we're gonna get to what happened in the Cup race at the end. But let's talk about the other races that happened this weekend. So we'll start off with the first IndyCar race at the Indy Roval. IndyCar this weekend was easily the best racing this weekend by a country fucking mile. Race 1 was pretty meh. Like, Scott Dixon struggled throughout the race. And Dixon entered this weekend with a shot to lock up the championship before St. Petersburg. But Dixon struggled, and Joseph Newgarden in race 1 took advantage of those struggles and was able to win the first Indy Grand Prix. So Newgarden saying, "Hold up, you ain't locking up shit yet, little Dixon." And Newgarden was able to chop over 30 points off of Dixon's lead within one race. But Dixon entered, but since this was a doubleheader weekend, Dixon enters the second race still with a shot to clinch the championship. He just needs to finish a couple spots ahead of Newgarden, and he's good to go. Now we're gonna get to a truck elimination race. So truck elimination race. So in this race, both Rhodes needs a few more points over Eckes to get himself in. He just needs to have a solid run and hope Eckes has issues. Everybody else is pretty safe on points. Gillen needed a strong run and hope somebody below had issues or win. So in the truck race, throughout the race, Sheldon Creed, Brett Moffitt, and Grant Enfinger were able to lock themselves in on stage points alone. Lab 11, Zane Smith, who entered the race 39 points above the cutoff line, he was not able to lock himself in early, as he had a wreck on lap 11. But since it was early in the race and he had a giant cushion, Zane Smith would have to stand there and wait for this race to finish to find out his true fate. But yeah, anyway, then on lap 47, Todd Gilliland's engine would give out and he would be forced to retire. And with that engine failure, it means that Todd Gilliland has officially been eliminated. Honestly, I don't think many people had him standing a chance in the truck chase to begin with, just because the equipment he's been in. Like, he entered the chase very flat. So yeah, expectations weren't high for him. But man, that's a brutal way to still be eliminated by a blown engine. So anyway, in the closing laps, Creed, Moffitt, and Enfinger would both lock in their spots. So that would mean 4 spots are locked up. And that left 4 spots still remain in the closing laps. Ankrum and Crafton were both able to stay out of trouble, so both of them were able to move on points. So those two were pretty safe. So really it came down to if Ben Rhodes can knock Eckes out or if Eckes can hang on and knock Zane Smith out. On the last lap, Eckes would be involved in the last lap crash. Meanwhile, up front, we were going to have a photo finish battle between Rafael Lazard and Trevor Bayne. Yeah, Trevor Bayne's actually in this race. He's replacing Ty Majeski for the rest of the year since Ty's had health issues. But as they were coming off turn 4, getting ready to beat Bayne to a photo finish at Talladega, NASCAR throws the caution on the last lap. A needless caution. That caution did not need to come out on the last lap. That wreck was way in the back. There was no reason to throw that caution. So, Rafael Lazard happened to be ahead of Trevor Bayne at the moment of caution. So, Rafael Lazard gets his first career win. And since Eckes was in that crash, it means Zane Smith locks in his spot into the chase. And Ben Rhodes is able to gain enough points to overcome Eckes. So, Rhodes gets that 8th and final spot into the round of 8. And this means Christian Eckes has officially been eliminated. Well, I honestly felt like a KBM driver was going to get their first career win this round. But it seems that I chose poorly, since I thought it was going to be Eckes that got the win, not Lazard. We'll just say I chose very poorly for that. But yeah, that's a brutal way to be eliminated, though. But yeah, Rafael Lazard gets his first career win. Congrats to him, well deserved. The Canuck, a Canadian, wins and it's not on a fucking road course. It's on an oval. What is this madness? But yeah, also races that end under caution are always a sin. But yes, let us move on. So then, race 2 of the IndyCar doubleheader, with Scott Dixon just needing to gain at least 10 or more points on Newgarden to lock up the championship. And this race, Dixon would struggle again, not really being relevant all race. Newgarden would run pretty well up front for most of the race, but in the end of the IndyCar battle, another solid race, it was a battle between Will Power and Colton Herta for the win. But in the end, Will Power was able to hold off a late charge from Herta, and Will Power gets another win this year. Now, at least Will Power again wins and trying to... Well, at this point, Will Power's just trying to build momentum for 2021. Trying to end the year on a high note and have some positive momentum entering 2021. So, hey, can't fault him for that. But yeah, also Newgarden finishes 4th and knocks another 8 points off Dixon's championship lead. So Dixon and everyone's saying that Dixon was going to lock up the championship this weekend. Well, Will Power and Joseph Newgarden said, sorry folks, but the only thing Scott Dixon locked up this week was his clown certificate. So this means the IndyCar Championship will come down to one race, to the final race of the year at St. Petersburg in 3 weeks. Between Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden, Dixon will enter with a 32-point lead. For Newgarden to have a shot to win this race, he either needs to win or finish in the top 5. For Dixon can lock up the championship with at least a 9th place finish or better. So Dixon effectively, if he finishes top 10, he wins the championship. But if Dixon finishes outside the top 10 and struggles, then Dixon could be in trouble and he may not win the 6th championship. Like Dixon, I swear to God, you better win the championship in 3 weeks. Because about a month ago when you were up by 110 points, you had what was effectively a 99% chance of winning this championship. If you somehow blow it this year, I swear to God, I'm going to roast the living shit out of you if you blow it. But yeah. Anyway, let us move on to the Xfinity race at Talladega. So, really this racing, it was pretty meh race. A couple chase drivers struggled throughout this race. Riley Herbst had issues in this race. He ended up in a crash early. Cindric, he would be involved in the crash too, but Cindric gained enough points to move on to be okay. So Cindric still enters the Roval in good position. Allgaier had an engine failure late. So it looks like Allgaier's bad luck is now starting in the chase again. But good news is Allgaier was able to gain some stage points and was able to have a decent points gap entering the Roval. Ryan Sieg even had a solid day too, and Ryan Sieg's going to enter in a solid position entering the Roval. In the end, it was a crazy battle at the end. Chase Briscoe had the lead late until he made a dumb aggressive block on Gragson and almost got dumped for it. I don't blame Gragson for almost running him over. That was a dumb block on Briscoe's part. Gregson's not going to let his foot off the gas that late in the race. But yeah, in the end, it came down to him and Justin Haley. And Justin Haley happened to get ahead, and then we had a crash on the last lap. And NASCAR threw the caution on the last lap. Another needless caution. That wreck on the last lap in the Xfinity race, that definitely did not need a caution. Why can't we just let them race back to the line? What is so hard about that? For fuck's sakes, let them race. But yeah, Haley was ahead at the moment of caution. So Justin Haley gets his 3rd win of the year. Holy shit. Remember when everyone was calling Justin Haley's win at Daytona in the Cup last year a fluke? So all of a sudden, they're all going silent. Now that Haley has 3 Xfinity wins this year. Haley's having himself a breakout year. You love to see that. Congrats to Haley. He's having a breakout year. He deserves the win. So with that, Haley is now one of only 2 drivers locked into the round of 8 entering Charlotte next week. So him and Briscoe are the only drivers safe, which might be a good thing. So Justin Haley will move on to the round of 8. And initially, Michael Annett would finish second, but hold up, we got a penalty. Beep! Because Michael Annett's car failed post-race inspection, so as a result, he was disqualified. So Annett went from being in a before the DQ, Annett was 3 points behind the cutoff line. Now Annett will be 38 points behind the cutoff line entering the Roval. So Annett and Herbst are 2 drivers in a must-win scenario. Brandon Brown Otway is 19 points below the cutoff line. I'm just going to read the points here. So yeah, the points entering the Roval, Cindric 50 points to the good. He's pretty much safe. He's locked in, plus he's a road course ace, so yeah, duh. He'll probably win the Roval next week. Gregson, 47 points. He's good. I say Brandon Jones is good, too. I'd say Ryan Sieg, 27. I think that's a good cushion, too. But, the Roval's been an unpredictable shit show, so you never know. Allgaier, 19 points. He just needs to have a solid day. He's out of trouble. And Chastain just needs to have a solid run, and he's in. Or hope nobody below wins. Harrison Burton needs to have a solid run and hope Chastain has issues to move on. And if Brandon Brown wants to have a hope in hell, he needs to win, or he needs to have a solid day and hope Chastain has issues. But yeah, that's the Xfinity Chase Grid entering Talladega. And now to the Cup race. Let me be real about the Cup race here. I honestly don't really want to talk about the Cup race after that finish. Let's get one thing straight about that finish. Matt DiBenedetto got outright fucked over. Denny Hamlin should not have won that race. Once again, it seems like the Talladega Chase race has always been a place where a lot of NASCAR's inconsistency and bullshit is always exposed. Example 2015. This race, the inconsistency and bullshit we see in this race has been the one issue that NASCAR's had problems with the last 20 years. Ever since Dale Sr. died. The double yellow line rule. Throughout this race, NASCAR did an okay job of enforcing it. Like twice in this race, Joey Logano was penalized for forcing a driver below the yellow line. He forced DiBenedetto below the yellow line when he got loose, and then he forced Chase Elliott below the yellow line when he got penalized for it. Of course, the Benedetto one, Logano whined and cried about saying it's not fair. Why are they giving me a penalty when it's obvious, clear as day you forced the Benedetto below the line? Like, bruh. And then we get to the ending. So we had 2 crashes on the last lap, but NASCAR made the right call and let them race back to the line. Oh, NASCAR! So now you're gonna let them race back to the line. How come you didn't fucking do this in Xfinity and trucks? Like, seriously, NASCAR's inconsistency and bullshit is something, man. Well, let's get to what happened. So, end of the race, we have a 4-car battle for the win between Eric Jones, Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Matt DiBenedetto. Almost all 4 are beating and banging each other into the wall. When Eric Jones and Chris Buescher almost get loosed into each other, Hamlin in the turn on the apron goes below the yellow line. Let's be real, he wasn't forced down there. Like, before Buescher came down, Hamlin went below the line. And even after Buescher and Jones went up, Hamlin still had plenty of room to come back up, but Hamlin chose to stay down there and advance his position below the yellow line, which you cannot do that under the rule. But Hamlin was allowed to, and Hamlin comes through and gets the win in a photo finish over Matt DiBenedetto. But oh boy, the shit show doesn't stop here. Because for Matt DiBenedetto and William Byron beating and banging each other to the line, Matt DiBenedetto gets penalized for racing Byron hard by saying Byron went below the yellow line. And really, Byron really didn't. Byron was loose. Like, he didn't really DiBenedetto didn't force Byron below the yellow line. Byron was loose. And that's how Byron got... And Byron only had 2 tires below the yellow line. Like, he got loose, but... that was not DiBenedetto forcing him. Like that, Byron got loose. But the Benedetto gets penalized and ends up being moved from 2nd to 21st. And then initially, Chase Elliott, who was forced below the line by Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott gets penalized for going below the yellow line, even though he was forced down there. So initially, Chase ends up 22nd as a result, until NASCAR realized they fucked up. So then NASCAR then made the right call by penalizing Chris Buescher, putting Buescher to 22nd, and then Chase Elliott goes to 5th. But NASCAR made the wrong call. Hamlin should not have won this race. I think Matt DiBenedetto should have won. I don't think DiBenedetto should have been penalized. He was racing hard with Byron, and Byron got loose. But yeah, DiBenedetto got screwed. And that's a heartbreaking way to lose, especially when you get screwed over by NASCAR and their complete inconsistency and bullshit. Like, this race, this finish was a complete fucking clusterfuck. Like, holy shit, Christ on a candle. Like, NASCAR just finds way to fucking embarrass themselves. Like, it was obvious Hamlin advanced his position below the yellow line. He had plenty of space to get back up on the track. And Hamlin stayed there. But everyone wants to know, what is the easiest solution to get rid of this rule? It's very simple to solve this problem. You know how we solve this problem? Get rid of the yellow line rule. I've been saying it for a couple years. Get rid of the yellow line rule. Because the last 20 years, this rule has caused nothing but confusion, controversy, so much inconsistency, and so much bullshit. And how everyone says, oh, this rule was designed to make racing safer. And here's the thing. Since they enforced this rule in 2001, dangerous crashes at super speedways have gone up by over 130%. So it's done the complete opposite. It's been counterproductive. It's the other way around. But yeah, you get rid of the yellow line rule. Problem solved. No more controversy. Because in these yellow line rules, when have we ever had a time when we as a fan base can safely say, oh yeah, that was the right call? Never. Like, when it comes to this yellow line rule, this fan base cannot be fucking united as one in it. It's always split. It's always a civil war for it. But yeah, this finish was complete fucking bullshit. Hamlin should not have won this race. Hamlin did not win this race. Hamlin's not my winner. Denny Hamlin, not my Talladega Fall winner. Like, honestly, this finish rivals Talladega 2015, that complete clusterfuck. It rivals that finish. I would say Talladega 2015 gets the edge because that race had so much fucking stupidity in it. But yeah, it was actually a really solid race too. But NASCAR at the end, does what NASCAR normally does. They find a way to drop the ball and fuck it up. God damn it. What a fucking embarrassment that finish was. And yeah, the booing Hamlin got at the end, and Hamlin fucking deserved it. But yeah. And honestly, any fan that fucking defends this shit is the reason why NASCAR has the dumbest fan base in all of pro sports, period. Anyone that fucking defends this shit needs to go take a look at themselves in the mirror and reevaluate their life choices. There's no one that should be defending this bullshit that happened. What a fucking embarrassment this is. One positive, at least Kyle Busch is still fucking winless this year. And Kyle Busch is on the verge of getting eliminated at the Roval next week. But yeah, what a fucking embarrassment this finish was. Worst fucking finish of 2020 by a landslide. I'm going to say it here. Get rid of the yellow line rule. I'm not going to stop saying it until NASCAR actually does it. Get rid of the rule. You want to get rid of controversy. You want to get rid of the inconsistency. You want to get rid of all the fucking confusion and bullshit that happens every time we have one of these situations play out. to get rid of the rule and problem solved, you don't have this issue anymore. And NASCAR and fans saying, oh, well, if NASCAR got rid of the yellow line rule, then, oh, well, it would be a lot worse. Well, it can't be any worse than this bullshit we saw today. But yeah, I think I'm done ranting on over this crap. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, hail the new C-Rad.